What's good, everybody? My name is Chase Lawson. This is the Financial Freedom Show where I make personal finance simple. Thanks so much for tuning in. For those of you who know me or who have been watching my channel so far, you should already know that I published a book a little over a year ago titled Financial Freedom, Breaking the Chains to Independence and Creating Massive Wealth. In fact, I've had a lot of people reach out asking me how exactly I went about writing this book and ultimately publishing it. So I wanted to take a few minutes today and share with you exactly how I did it and leave you some tips as well if you're hoping to write your own book. And as always, if you want to stay up to date when I release new videos, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know when each new video comes out. So let's get started. If you've ever wanted to write a book, you're in the majority. It's been said that upwards of 90% of Americans feel like they have a book in them, yet less than 1% actually ever write a book. That's quite a staggering statistic. For me, I got a little lucky. As the famous motivational speaker Jim Rohn said, we are the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. So that's why if you surround yourself with successful people, you're a lot more likely to be successful as well. For me, I happen to have been a part of a program where I got connected with some smart, successful people, many of whom have also written a book. So for me, seeing others in my circle go down this path sort of became infectious and led me to giving this whole writing thing a shot. One of the people in this circle is my good friend Chandler Bolt. Chandler actually dropped out of college and has gone on to write several books and made a lot of money off of those books. And as well, he created his own company called Self-Publishing School, where he helps aspiring authors to ultimately write their own books and get published. He wrote a great book that I would encourage you checking out titled Published, The Proven Path from Blank Page to Published Author, which outlines a good process you can follow for ultimately writing and publishing your own book. But when it comes down to it, writing and publishing a book is pretty easy to do nowadays. We've certainly come a long way when it comes to technology, and we have a lot of tools that we can leverage. A big excuse many people will give as to why they haven't written a book is that they don't know if anybody will read it, and they doubt that they'll have success getting published, or if they ultimately get it published, that they'll be successful with it. This is what's known as the imposter syndrome, or believing you're not as competent as others perceive you to be, or that you've only succeeded in life due to luck, not because of your talent or qualifications. I will agree that going down the traditional publishing route can be tough. You have to find an agent or publisher, submit a query letter, and overcome a lot of rejections. In fact, up to 90% of manuscripts are weeded out at this stage of the process, as many are hesitant to take a flyer on an unproven author. Even a lot of those authors that you find are great authors today, like Tim Ferriss and J.K. Rowling, they also overcame their own rejection. Each of them overcame at least 12 rejections when trying to get their books published. But for those who do make it past this initial stage, there's still a lot of work ahead of you as well. You have to hope that the publishers can ultimately market your book well and get you in bookstores. But even then, there's no guarantee of success. And with traditional publishing, creative control ultimately lies with the book publisher, not with the author. So the final product may not even be what you intended it to be. And in addition, you get paid a much smaller royalty, and there's minimal marketing support oftentimes from the publisher. So traditional publishing, yes, there's a lot of glitz, glory, and glamour behind it, but it's a very tough process, can take years. But with that being said, lately, there's a lot more authors going down the self-publishing route. In fact, self-publishing books trump traditionally published books by about a 2-to-1 margin today. Amazon has made it really easy to self-publish your own book. As long as you have an Amazon account, have a manuscript in Word or PDF, and a book cover, you can publish that book on Amazon. Millions of people use Amazon each and every day, so your book will be out there in front of the whole world. In addition, when you self-publish, you have full creative control. So the book is your baby. You have that full control on it, and you can get out there oftentimes years sooner, and you get paid a higher percentage royalty on all book sales. Plus, Amazon will handle the book printing for you, so you don't even have to maintain inventory. So there's a lot of value in the self-publishing route as well to consider. But writing a book can be quite powerful. It can serve as your business card that you can hand to others to show that you're an expert in your field. You can use it to supplement your income, use it to book speaking gigs, sell courses, and a lot more. Plus, it's a really cool feeling to be among the less than 1% that have actually written and published a book. So with that being said, I want to leave you with a few tips as to how to exactly go about doing this. So first off, know why you're doing this. So with my book, I felt like I had the knowledge around personal finance that I wanted to share, and my goal was really just to help change one person's life. So I felt like if I could do that, just change one person's life, my goal would be met. And that's kind of what I strive for. And in fact, I've done that and more. I've had a lot of people reach out to me and say that they've gotten a lot of value from my book, and they really started to implement some of these lessons into their own personal financial lives, and it's paying off big time. So I've definitely accomplished that goal and more. Yes, making extra income is great, but my goals are purely rooted in helping inspire others, and I definitely feel like I've accomplished that. So know why you're doing this first and foremost. What are you hoping to accomplish out of this book? Once you have that understanding, then it's time to actually come up with an idea. What do you actually want to write about? You may have a number of ideas you want to talk about or write about, but actually spend time thinking about what you want to write about and ask yourself and friends, hey, do you think this topic would be successful? You can check Amazon to see what others have written about in that field and see how successful they've been. What is their bestsellers rank within Amazon? And that'll tell you, are people actually buying this topic? The topic should be broad enough that you can write, enough about it and have a large enough target market that your book will sell. But once you have actually come up with an idea, then it's time to actually brainstorm and mind map ahead of time. So take that broad idea you have for your book and break it up into subsections. What are the different topics you want to talk about in the book? And then within each of those topics, what are some of the subtopics you want to talk about? That brainstorm and mind map will ultimately serve as the foundation of your book. And you can use that to ultimately group topics into areas that make sense of your book, and make sure that the book flows well and is a cohesive book and will make sense to the ultimate reader, and helps make sure that you have enough content to actually write the book. So once you've actually done that brainstorming and mind mapping session, then it's time to actually start writing the book. So for this, you don't need hours upon hours to do it. Yes, the more time you can commit to it, the sooner you might be able to get this published, but just carve out a few minutes a day. We're all busy. So if you can find 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, just find those little pockets of time throughout your day. For me, it took me about 11 months to write and publish my book. That's because I was pretty busy, but I would find those 5 minute, 10 minute pockets of time throughout my day. And every few days I would write a little bit more of the book, whether that was getting up a little bit early or staying up a little later. Or when I would travel for work, I would use that time on the airplane to, pull up my laptop, open up Word, and just start typing. When I was in a hotel room, I would type some more. Just try and find those pockets of time and actually just write a few minutes a day. Because the hardest part about writing is actually getting that momentum going. So if you just carve out 5 minutes a day, write a few words on paper, that'll kind of compound upon itself, and soon enough you'll have a finished good. Next, you can get an accountability partner. So a lot of times it's hard to hit your goals because you don't have anybody holding you to those goals but yourself. A lot of people may not be motivated just by themselves. So when you get a friend or a family member to be that accountability partner, you can set goals with them and they can hold you accountable to those goals. You can set up some sort of reward or punishment system to either reward or punish you if you do or don't hit those goals. So these goals should be quantifiable and goals that you can track over time. So it may be write 1 chapter per month. It may be write 5 minutes a day, 5 days a week, whatever those goals are. Have an accountability partner that you can share those goals with, and they can hold you accountable to those goals, and you can have some sort of system established with them. That's going to help immensely because people don't want to let down others. And so when you share a goal with others, whether it's just one-on-one or with your whole social network, for example, you feel like, hey, I need to get this done. You feel that a lot more. Next, you can join a community of fellow authors. There's a lot of communities out there with aspiring authors going down the same route of trying to write and publish their own book, whether it's on Twitter. I see a lot of groups formed on Twitter around writing, or Facebook, or my friend Chandler's program, the self-publishing school. They've helped a lot of authors get their books published as well. So finding a community of like-minded people, once again, going back to that Jim Rohn quote, you are basically the average of the people you associate yourself with. So when you're amongst that community of fellow writers, you're going to be encouraged to actually write that book, and you're going to have people in your same shoes giving you tips and things that they've learned as well. So that can definitely help. Next, just write the whole first draft prior to doing any editing. So a lot of writers, they kind of get trapped in the mindset of this needs to be perfect. And so what they do is they write a little bit, and then they edit it, and then they edit it some more, and they spend too much time on each individual section. Whereas the hardest part about writing is actually getting all the content down to begin with. So you can always go back and edit later. The main thing to do is just actually get all your ideas on paper first, and then you can fine tune it, edit it, trim it down, do whatever you need to. But write the first draft first prior to doing any of that editing. It'll help you keep that momentum going. And then once you actually have the final product, then you're a lot more motivated to go back and edit the individual sections, and you're a lot closer to actually publishing that book. For me, with my book as well, I had some research in there, and I didn't want to take time to actually go and do that research and find it and put it in the book. So I made notes within the book of areas that I wanted to go back and add additional research into the book. And I did all that additional research and adding the information in after I actually wrote the book. That way I could get all my ideas on paper first, and then, add the additional relevant information as well from studies or whatever research I was using in the book. Next, you can use websites like Fiverr, Upwork, and 99 Designs to help with some aspects of writing. So writing a book does not have to be expensive. I spent about $610, give or take, using sites like this to help me with my book. So I used Fiverr to hire somebody to help format the book for Amazon based on Amazon standards. There's a lot of people out there that have helped other authors do the same thing, that are familiar with Amazon standards. And so rather than trying to learn it all yourself and take all that time and, going up that learning curve, somebody else has already done all that hard work. So you can pay them $5-10 to actually just format your book for you, so it's ready to go for Amazon. I used Upwork and paid a few $100s to somebody to go through and edit it. Obviously, your book is your baby, so it can be hard to edit it sometimes yourself. So do those initial edits yourself, but then hire an editor, someone who's edited books of similar topics before, to give it another look through, another pair of eyes, to really make sure it's a fine-tuned product. And then 99 Designs I used for cover design to get a professional looking cover for my book. Paid somebody a few $100s to do that as well. Next, just type the whole book in Word. Like I mentioned, with Amazon, you don't need anything special. You just need to type the book in Word, and you can submit the Word doc, or you can turn it into a PDF and submit that. So you don't need any professional tools to actually write your book. Just as long as you have Microsoft Word, just type it in there and it's good to go. And then build a team. So when you get close to publishing your book and start to launch it out into the world, find family and friends that want to support you and use them to help market your book and push it out to their networks as well. Expand the reach. That's huge, because, when you get ready to launch your book, you want that visibility. So having friends help to promote and market your book for you, your friends want to help you out. Let them do that. They can be a part of something special. And then finally, celebrate afterwards. So writing a book takes a lot of hard work. So when you've actually finished writing that book, it's then time to actually celebrate, rejoice in what you've been able to accomplish. You're part of less than 1% of Americans that have actually written and published a book. So celebrate with friends, have a book launch party, whatever you want to do, but definitely have some sort of reward at the end of your big accomplishment. So that's essentially all there is to it. It's not that hard to do. You don't have to have a traditional publisher. You can self-publish. There's a lot of free tools online out there for you to leverage. But let me know if you have any questions. Happy to answer anything and everything you might have. Writing this book has been a great experience for me. And like I said, hearing from others that they've gotten a lot of value out of my book and it's really changing their lives. That's what my why is behind my book. And, glad to have been able to accomplish that and still be able to do that each and every day. So, if you haven't checked out my book, I would encourage you to do so. But yeah, let me know your thoughts below. And like I said before, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you stay tuned when new videos come out. So thanks so much, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. And if you're on the fence thinking about writing a book, just do it, man. It's powerful. It can open up a lot of doors for you. So that's my recommendation for you. So get out there. Good luck with it. Let me know how I can support you. And thanks, and go get them.